It's been a little while since we've last seen this Zerg player compete in StarCraft 2. It seems like lately, over the last 2 years or so, he only ever signs up for the biggest tournaments that we have in Europe, and he usually seems to do quite well. If we have to believe the man's Twitter, he doesn't play the game. Now, in this best of 5 series, he's going up against the #1 Terran in the world, so I'm excited to find out exactly what he ended up going for. Spawning right here in the top right-hand corner of a map called Twilight Imperium. Playing with the blue Zerg drones, we have Bly. His opponent, all the way in the top left with the red Terran pieces, he goes by the name of Clem. Now, as you may have already noticed, Twilight Imperium, it is one of the new maps. This particular series was played during the Team Liquid Map Contenst. I've never seen a game on this map just yet, but it features golden minerals, and I figured if it's a TVZ between Bly and Clem, it should at the very least be a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong though, in my mind, this is certainly... Is that a healing shrine? Yep, it is. It should certainly be Clem who comes out ahead here, but... Bly usually likes to bring out some crazy builds, and he is really strong whenever there are new maps available for the game. So, this map is made by a map creator called Nyarla. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that. Anyways, they write the following. A rather defensive map where all attack paths go high ground. Healing shrines at the center could compensate for disadvantages and help in attacking central bases. The triangle third or the golden base. Airspace blockers over the healing shrine to prevent air units from using it. Okay, so this must be the second one then. So this is a new feature that got added for the very first time with this particular map contest. So pretty self-explanatory. Units stand inside of the circle and then they get a little bit of health. I'm not sure if it's a good feature, but I do think it's cool. So these golden minerals, they're gonna allow Bly to get a ton of income right here from the start. The thing is, what is he gonna do with them, right? I cannot imagine that Bly is gonna be playing a macro series against Clem. It just doesn't really make any sense. Clem has looked ridiculously good over the last couple of months. He's opting to go for a quick expansion, but yeah, a double barracks into a factory. He's checking right now for the gold base. There's a good chance, by the way, that both of these players are playing on these maps for either like the first or maybe the second time ever. So there's a good chance as well that Clem has never seen these golden minerals before, but... Yo, you should go over here. Mr. Reaper Man. I guess he heals pretty quickly out of combat regardless. That's a very fast lair. So we're going link speed, drones left in gas, and then straight into a lair. This is scouted right now by Clem, who's rushing out the Stimpeg research. Should work out really nicely for him. This will finish up right around the 5-minute mark or so, so... Whatever it is that Bly has got prepared for us, Stimpeg should be done for it, be it Mutas or a Nidus Worm or whatever. At least in theory. Then again, it is Bly. He could just be expanding behind this and calling it a day. I mean, since he does know that he's been scouted just now, there is a very good chance that he's not even gonna bother trying to get the damage done, but do you really want to be playing a macro game against Clem? Guys like, for example, Serral have been struggling in that department, right? Anyhow, I have heard many times, though, historically, StarCraft 2 players flexing with how little they currently practice. This is a bit of a recurring theme. I think our most notable example of that would be Stefano. Stefano back in the day would basically always say that he never played, and then he would win tournaments. It's like, have you practiced Stefano? Nah, I've played like 5 games, but like, that's about it. And then you end up winning the tournament with very specific and very precise builds. Sure. There is a Roach Warren together with a Nidus network. Now, this Roach Warren timing is not quite optimal, because it's gonna delay the Nidus Worm cheese, right? So if we do want to go for some sort of aggression... Yeah, he's actually droning behind it. What in the world are we doing? Is this like a macro Nidus Worm? Honestly, though, I don't really know exactly if Bly really needs to commit here. Yeah, at this point, finally, Terran does catch up. You can see whenever those mules are hitting the mineral lines. Roach speed coming up right now. I think that Clem is basically just going to sit here and wait. He's got an awful lot of army. He is adjusting his playstyle, though. So notice here that, well, Clem does not have a quick third command center. I have seen a lot of Clem games over the last couple of months, and whenever he faces off against Zerg, he will pretty much always open up with a 3rd CC after the factory. Not the case here this time around. So his economy is actually kind of awkward here. And those golden minerals are gonna give Bly a nice little boost. Nidus Worm comes up right now. So yeah, I think these... He did see that these medevacs left, right? Yeah, he did see that. So he's purposefully waiting with the Nidus network until the medevacs left. Now he finally commits. Nidus Worm goes into main base too. These medevacs are gonna have to make the flight of shame all the way back. This is a Bly game, alright. Does it make sense? Some? Yeah, a little bit. Will it work out? Maybe. He's starting to break through though. This could actually do a lot of damage. Clem does currently have the worker lead, but at the end of this engagement, I don't think that will be the case anymore. But look at the amount of Marines available at this point. They are absolutely destroying all of these Roaches and Zerglings. Now a siege tank finally pops out. More Roaches also. Oh, they wanted to go back home, I think, but more Roaches also do find a little bit of a Marine ball there. 23 SCVs go down. That actually is pretty darn good. There is no 3rd command center. I think you go home, Bly. No, don't lose more units. Yeah, just go into the worm and make non-stop Roaches. Clem's economy is actually in shambles right now. So Bly knew that he was spotted. He was spotted with the lair. I think he was spotted as well with the Nidus network. So he waited until Terran finally moved out across the map, and that's when he committed with the worm. 2 medevacs going across the map right now. These line of sight blockers, by the way, at the bottom of this base are very funky. I think you can actually walk in between this as well, which is really strange. You can park some siege tanks up here. Alright, well, this is a good drop right here, though, for Clem. In the meantime, there is a push, but 2 siege tanks in good positions are gonna make it very difficult right there for Bly to get a good bit of damage done. Okay, yeah, the drones have decided to just leave that base behind as Clem manages to get the kill right here on that, well, on that hatchery, as well as the Overlord. Knight is in the main base right now. This is kind of like Terran versus Protoss, where Protoss is trying to go around with Blink Stalkers, and now we have like the Prism with the 4 Stalkers in the main base. Except the Stalkers are Roaches and the Prisms are Nidus Worms. The problem here for Bly is, yeah, you can deal all this damage, but you will have to deal with the army as well. You can't just run around in circles and ignore this, yeah, this army here. I think ultimately Clem will come out ahead. Tunneling Claws is done? Okay, sure. Burrow and Tunneling Claws, makes sense. I think ultimately Clem, yeah, does pull out ahead here, mostly because he's got mules. So, despite the fact that he ended up losing 28 SCVs, he's actually not in a bad spot economically, because he's done a lot of damage on the other side of the map too, and, well, those mules do help out quite a bit. I wonder what would have happened if Bly decided to just make non-stop army after his very first attack. Because he killed a ton of eco there, and then he decided, you know what, I want to deal even more damage. If he just had a bunch of Roaches sitting at the gold, and he had units as well at home to defend over here, he would have been able to pull quite far ahead with a follow-up attack. I think he decided to get a little bit too fancy, which ultimately does give Clem the advantage. Alright, that structure is also not going to happen. Double gas over here in the natural. In case you're unfamiliar with Bly's playstyle, well, first off, I think this game gives you a pretty decent example on what the man likes to do. But secondly, he's also not somebody who will GG out early. So he will fight until the final Roach. But at this point, there is no way that he's going to be able to obtain the victory. He's got a Roach over here. He will see the move out. That's a lot now. Yeah, there's about as many siege tanks as there are Roaches at this point, which, oh, he doesn't even get in. There's still a siege tank at home as well, so Clem isn't even bringing everything. He's driving everything back home for this one Roach. Okay. Clem, dotting his T's. Wait, no. What do you do with the T's? You cross your T's, you dot the I's. Hey, did we have the... There you go. We have the healing shrine being used right there for just a moment. None of these units have lost any hit points, but hey, it's the thought that counts. Yeah, you guys are not allowed in the circle. Sorry. Ambush. Making the best of a very tricky scenario. He just doesn't have the numbers. Cool game though by Bly. Yeah. If Clem would not have changed his build order up at all in this game, I think he could have been in a lot of trouble. Second game of this best of 5 series. We find ourselves on a map called Amphion. I have seen a couple games on this map so far. I quite like it. So the map is made by May on Fire. She writes the following. Natural expansions on this map have a backdoor with reduced minerals that lead to a safe pocket base. As tempting as it may seem, mining them out opens a direct path towards your opponent. Right. So there's hybrid bases with golden minerals. There's natural expansions with mineable backdoors with 2 rows of 5 minerals each. There's 2 forward 4th/5th bases that have a mineral wall next to them with a single row of 5 minerals. 2 significantly faster... Wait, what? She's numbering the amount of distances somehow. 2 significantly faster distance by air than ground. Nice, dude. I love it whenever these map descriptions have never been proofread by anybody. That's a bit of a theme with every single TLMC. I kind of feel like the map descriptions are just written like this. And they just keep writing and writing and writing, and then eventually they hit submit. And nobody ever double checks it. Anyways, so this is... Yeah. This is that mineable backdoor over here that gives you a pretty easy to take base. But it is expanding in the direction of the opponent. So that's what makes it quite risky. I'm not a huge fan of pocket bases most of the time. As we do, by the way, have an... Yeah, I'm just a normal hatch gas pool right here for Bly. Interesting. These pocket bases are... In general, I don't really like pocket bases all too much, but I think these are more acceptable because... They're easy to take, but you are expanding in the direction of the opponent. Looks like we have a little mineral, or a little overload wall right over here as well. At the very least, Bly is going to be able to keep it alive for a little while. Oh, there's a hole in the map. Whoa. That's where we build our expansions? Are there more examples like that? Yeah, look at that. That is not safe. I don't know who came up with that, but there is no way. If we're ever going to get any sort of safety checks, there's no way this map is gonna pass. Could you burrow a Zergling there? I wonder. I mean, it'd be really weird to... I know there's a game going on, but now I gotta discuss this. Do you think you can burrow a Zergling over there? We gotta go check it after this game. Bly, no! Okay. Losing a drone to a spore crawler. Like, you saved it, right? You saved the drone, and then you accidentally... It's the worst feeling. I hate that so much. I think you can burrow a Zergling there. There's no way that you can't. But at the same time, it would look very cursed. So I have to go check it out. Is that a little, look at that. Little aquarium right over here on top of this pillar. The map makers have gotten very comfortable trying to make pretty maps. And we've gotten to the point where things are starting to look a little unrealistic. I hate it whenever my science fiction video game is unrealistic. It's not cool, man. Anyways, 3.5 minutes into the game, the Roach Warren is done. Overlords are finishing. Bly is certainly gonna go, there we go, for a big attack right here on Amphion. I really wonder what happens if you burrow a Zergling in these expansions. I need to go check that out. Anyways, the question is, how much damage can Bly do with this particular attack? This is a quick Stimpak opener right here for Clem. He's doing a good job, Bly that is, denying this Reaper. But the thing is, Clem is playing a very safe series so far. So again, not going for the fast third command center, instead opting to go for just a good old 2-on-1. So this is a double medevac drop at about the 5-minute mark. And it looks like this push will essentially hit at the same time as Terran is finishing up their Stimpak research. Supply block right here for Clem. Alright, uncharacteristic mistake. But the fact of the matter is that Bly is gonna hit his opponent in the face. when Stimpack is finishing up, which is about the worst case scenario, I think, for the Zerg. If this would have been like a triple CC opener, this could have been amazing. Unless there's a Banshee. So there's still a couple of ifs and buts here, but okay. How much damage can he do? Right now the worker count is basically even. Obviously that's in favor of the Terran because of the mule mechanic. A little bit of damage being done here. One of the Ravagers gets targeted down. Lovely work right here by Clem. Yeah, and this is the downside when you know your nickname is Bly. Everybody at this level of play is familiar with your shenanigans. They may have not played you in a while because you don't play in that many tournaments. Looks like there may have been a little bit of lag. But everybody still knows that you're Bly and what you're usually capable of. And there's a bit of hard countering going on here. Bly as a barcode Zerg on the Grandmaster League ladder, extremely dangerous. Obviously, you can't play as a barcode in a StarCraft 2 tournament. Like, your nickname can't be this. So, who in the world is gonna play their normal builds against somebody like Bly? There actually was a time when that was the case. That's back when Bly used to play heavy macro games. So, I remember, I think this was like 4 or 5 years ago. No, maybe longer than that. It's been a while. Marine drop, by the way, will get deflected. There was a time where Bly played Broodlord Infestor in every single game. Broodlord Infestor at the time was incredibly hard to stop. This was not the first time around that Broodlord Infestor was OP. That was like early Wings of Liberty. It's been quite a few years since the last time that the ultimate Zerg unit comp was Broodlord Infestor, but back when that was the strongest strategy to play for Zerg, Bly basically played for the 30-minute mark every single game. Every single game, he just went for the most abusable strategy possible. Now, obviously, that's a long time ago. But back then, yeah, maybe people would have just played their strongest early game builds. Terrans, that is, right? They would have played their strongest early game builds against Bly, but in the current meta, not quite the case. I wonder when that was. Like, in my mind, right, that probably was like 2016, so it's about 4 years ago. 2016. It's not 4 years ago. No. 2016 is 8 years ago. Did you know that? People born in the year 2006 can vote this year. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways. Not a lot of economy here for either player. Once again, we've got ourselves a Nidus network available right now for Mr. Bly. And there's a nice little spot over here for him to put that into the main base. Yeah, Marines are already marching on over in that direction because they can smell that something is not quite right. Tunneling Claws, together with Roach Burrow. It's good to see Mr. Clem actually be this flexible as well in his strategies. It's not surprising. But at least for a while there, I think you could criticize Clem for being a bit too predictable. He would essentially just play the same strategies over and over and over again, but these days, yeah, not quite the case anymore. He still has a preferred style that he will play in like maybe 50% of his games. That would be the triple CC with Hellion Banshee. He's being very conservative though. He sees like 5 units. He sees a Nidus network. He's like, you know what? I am not going to... Yeah, maybe he's right. I think he could have just sniped the... Yeah, there's no way that this Zerg army is gonna stay alive. Oh my god, he decides to jump it? Well, maybe if there was an Infestor or two in the mix, then a Fungal Growth could have been amazing. But my god, that was expensive. GG is cold. Clem wins game number 2. Let's see. There's technically a hole on the map here. Can I burrow a Zergling? Maybe it's like one of those like skyscrapers, you know, where you have like a glass floor. Yeah, you can burrow a Zergling just fine. It's not a problem. It's very cursed. It does not make any sense, but it does not seem to be an issue. Oh, no. No. There you go. It's very weird, actually. You can kind of see its tail right behind it. Huh. I guess that's what it normally looks like. It's just that usually it's underground. What about an Ultralisk? Hey, he's mostly under the map. Yeah, this guy is floating into space. Maybe it's like a helium balloon, you know? He's kind of just popping against the top of this space platform that we are on. Truth be told, though, I don't think you really want to be blocking your opponent's expansion with Ultralisk anyways. Not ideal. Next up, we find ourselves on a map called Silver Flame. Now this map, alright, it has a feature that I believe, yeah, is not something we've ever seen before. So I saw this and I was like, oh, what's... Oh, looks like there's a little graphical glitch. What's the point of this? Well, it's an interesting idea. I'm not 100% sure about the execution yet. But Zerg structures off creep slowly lose a life. And I believe at about the 4.5 minute mark on this map, they bleed out. So the idea is that you essentially create an extra opening into your opponent's, or I guess your own bases, when these spawning pools run out of life. It's a cool idea. I'm just not 100% sold on it. Yeah, we have 12 pools. So, not usually the 12 pool that we see in StarCraft 2, because building 12 spawning pools would be a bit weird. But what would happen though if the Zerg, for example, decides to build a hatchery over here, and then a bunch of creep tumors go down? I guess, since creep is considered neutral and these spawning pools are as well, I'm assuming at the very least that these spawning pools will not bleed out and they will just simply stay alive. I think creep should be able to sustain it, but it'd be very strange as well to like spread creep in this direction. It's a cool idea. So again, to clarify, this is from the Team Liquid Map Contenst. It's essentially a tournament that usually determines what future maps in StarCraft 2 will look like, or what future map pools in StarCraft 2 will look like, but none of these maps are guaranteed to go onto the ladder. There's a very good shot that many of the maps that I've been casting over the last couple of series are not going to be going onto the ladder. There have been a few though that I think are really good, and then we could just copy-paste straight up and nobody would bat an eye. But yeah, I like the idea of these wall-offs. Like, why do we have 6 of them though? I guess the idea is that at some point you could also come in here and then kill them. But I think 3 would be more than enough. Maybe it's a reference to the 6-pool strategy that used to be very popular back in the day. Do you just have to start shooting this, Bly? Or Clem, sorry. You see spawning pools, can you really... Yeah, you're just gonna let them sit there? Okay. I'm curious if the Marine was a little bit closer, would it go after the neutral spawning pool? Probably not. Anyways, so far, what strategies do we have? Well, once again, we're leaving the drones in gas. It seems like Bly is a fan of Nidus worms and lairs and all the rest of it. Quicker third command center, by the way, this time around here for Clem. So there is, by the way, quite a long description for this as well, written by Killer Smile, who is the map maker. I don't know exactly if there's a lot going on. I think I have a little bit of time here to read it, as we do have a pretty normal build here this time around, albeit one with a second barracks. So Killer Smile writes the following. Mining out a triangular third base and destroying a rock leads into a safe half base behind your spawn location. Your natural has an opening blocked by 2 decaying spawning pools. Well, I see a few more than just 2 of them. I also see massive rectangles in the middle of every single one of them, which looks very ugly, I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, the middle feature, or the middle rather, features small bridges, rocks, a watchtower, and a healing shrine behind a rich gas base. Okay, so here's the healing shrine. There's the... Oh, it's a double rich gas base. Yeah, you give the players a little bit of freedom, and immediately they will go, or the map makers, I guess. Immediately they will go for some of the craziest map designs ever. I quite like this, though. These impact craters look amazing. The bridges look good. Not sure about this feature, but the concept is, yeah, is a pretty cool one. So, At about 4.5 minutes is what I thought. Seems to be accurate. Yeah. These spawning pools are gonna bleed out. So Zerglings over here are distracting it. Bly? No, the Brootlings! Oh, that's so sad. He had set that up perfectly. Okay, wave 2. Let's see if it works this time around. Go, go, go. I mean, it's a cool idea. Kudos for trying, Bly. Okay, apparently the Brootlings themselves also provide a bit of a wall off. Yeah, so it's 4.5 minutes. Spire this time around, so he's gonna go for a bit of a different one. There's a lot more, by the way, that Killer Smile wrote about this map. So, by the way, I didn't actually look at the pocket base yet, so that's this one right over here. Bly has taken his as well. There's rocks over here together with minerals. Oh, this is a base. Oh, that's weird. So, as the game progresses, as we do have a bunch of Zerglings apparently running in again, as the game progresses, you can probably take this base, which will ultimately create a second opening into your main base. That's kind of a cool idea. Yeah, Clem just plugging the holes over here with the, the supply depots, preventing any follow-up Zergling run-bys. The thing is, this is a triple CC opener this time around for Clem, right? So any SCV losses that we've had in this game, not quite as significant. Hey, by the way, look, that answers my question about the creep. Apparently, indeed, having creep in this area does prevent this from bleeding out. Anyways, enough of the spawning pools bled out here regardless. Clem is going to be able to get into his opponent's bases pretty easily. He scouted the Spire as well, which is absolutely massive. These Hellions are not going to be able to drive back home, but he is going to be able to prepare pretty easily. Right away, we have a Marine move out as well. Zerglings, okay, sneaking into the base for like the 4th time. Bly exposing a couple weaknesses right here in Clem's defensive play. Mutas are coming. The problem is, this is such a fast Spire that we don't have a Baneling Nest. And without Banelings, normally you go for the Baneling Nest before the Spire. Oh no, this push might actually just win him the game. Yeah, Bly is cutting 17 corners in this particular match of StarCraft 2, and he's saying, yo, I want to win the game, whatever it takes. But Clem may just be a little bit too good for that. Massive advantage right now for the French Terran player. Baneling Nest did just now finish, but Baneling Nests without Baneling speed are not very good. Even when you do have speed against Clem, he can still quite easily deal damage to you. I would really like to see players actually make use of those healing shrines, but so far, as we do have a Baneling bust right now attempted here, it seems. That's why we made the Baneling Nest. I thought we made the Baneling Nest to be defending against this attack. Guess we have a few Banelings for that as well, but we're mostly just trying to bust through the wall off. That's not quite enough Banelings though. As long as there's any defensive units available, yeah, I was gonna say, that's not going to happen. Well, looks like the attack over here also was not going to happen, as Mr. Clem is targeting everything perfectly, and that's why Bly decided to call GG.